This was Angel Reese. She was called for a foul on Caitlin Clark, and she mocked Caitlin Clark after the foul. Right here, she was called for the foul. She didn't like it. She threw up her hands, and watch her mock right here. There we go, right there.
Caitlin Clark left the court with a noticeable black eye. Yet the player responsible for the contact faced no suspension, no fine, and no disciplinary action whatsoever. The officials witnessed the incident, saw exactly what happened, and simply let it go. The biggest attraction, the most discussed star, and arguably the most influential player in women's professional basketball was struck in the face during the Fever's matchup against the Atlanta Dream. Still, the referees acted as if nothing serious had taken place. It was almost as though the incident never happened, as if they were watching an entirely different game unfold right in front of them.
Just complete without you players under the ball. Shot clock didn't start. There was a reason for the slight delay there. Well, I thought it was cool looking at Atlanta's history when it comes to teammates who were 1 and 2 esteemed.
Some people will immediately say, that is just part of basketball. Physical contact happens, and players run into each other all the time. But hold on for a second, because that explanation does not fit this situation. Take another look at the replay. Focus on the angle of the elbow and where it makes contact. That is not a routine battle for position, nor is it a random collision while chasing the ball. The elbow clearly strikes Caitlin Clark in the face. A blow to the orbital area with that amount of force can cause obvious damage, leaving bruises and swelling behind. It resulted in a visible black eye, something Clark had to deal with while continuing to play. Yet despite all of that, the WNBA reviewed the situation and chose to let it pass without consequence.
How it affected you and through the rest of the game? Thanks.
Yeah, obviously got me pretty good in the eye. I don't think it affected me. Honestly, I felt like I got good shots. They just didn't go down, and obviously a tough time for that to happen. I got some really good looks. I felt I had three wide open threes in the first half that you usually make. So that's tough, but I felt like I battled and tried my best.
Many people are going to argue that this is simply basketball and that physical contact is a normal part of the game. But that reasoning falls apart in this case. Go back and watch the replay again. Pay attention to the path of the elbow and the exact point of impact. This was not just two players battling for space, and it was not an unfortunate collision while fighting for possession. The contact came directly to Caitlin Clark's face. A strike with that level of force around the eye area can leave clear signs of injury, including bruising and swelling. The result was a noticeable black eye that Clark had to play through for the remainder of the contest. Even with the evidence right in front of them, the WNBA chose not to take any action and treated the incident as if it did not warrant further attention.
That's just the story. Outscoring the Fever by 2. With that three-pointer by 5 now, a 19-14 bench advantage. Now, Zelman took a while to pick up her third personal. She got the 2 quickies in the first quarter. And she's got 3 personals now. Caitlin Clark asking about the contact on that, and it looks like, oh yeah, stepped on.
The matchup against the Atlanta Dream became another chapter in a pattern that fans believe has been developing for quite some time. During the game, Angel Reese threw an elbow that made direct contact with Caitlin Clark's face. The play continued in real time, and the referee had an unobstructed view of the entire sequence. Yet no whistle was blown. There was no foul called, no review initiated, and no pause in the action. Everything simply moved on as though the contact never deserved a second look.
Stephanie White, you don't know how to challenge any single call on Caitlin Clark. It's happening right there in front of your face, in front of the bench, and you don't challenge nothing. And then that leads to her sitting in the fourth quarter because of 5 fouls, because you don't challenge nothing when it comes to Caitlin Clark. You are a joke. You are a bum. Your sorry ass needs to be fired. These refs are jokes, man. These refs cheating. It's sabotage. Ding, 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 ding. Sabotage from the league. I'm calling it. It's sabotage all over.
And this is where the frustration really started to grow. The very officials who ignored that elbow appeared to be calling questionable fouls against Caitlin Clark throughout the same game. Situations that showed little or no real contact were suddenly being whistled. The kind of physical play that happens countless times every night across the league seemed to become a foul whenever Clark was involved. The difference in how things were being officiated was hard to ignore, and the fans watching noticed every bit of it.
Clark didn't have the strongest game defensively in this one. Part of that also due to the foul trouble, which let's get right to that, because this was irritating for me to watch. These fouls specifically on Caitlin, if she's going to get called for these fouls, I don't know what she can do exactly, especially if teams are going to attack her on that end of the floor. And you see here, into her chest, she fell down on this play. Just, hitting the floor. I don't think Caitlin fouled her there, and Stephanie White did not use her challenge there. This is Caitlin Clark's third foul at the end of the first half.
And that is when the frustration reached another level. The same referees who chose to overlook the elbow were handing out questionable calls against Caitlin Clark all throughout the game. Plays that involved minimal contact, or sometimes hardly any at all, were suddenly being ruled as fouls. The type of physicality seen repeatedly across the league every single night seemed to draw a whistle whenever Clark was the player involved. The inconsistency was impossible to ignore, and the fans in attendance and watching from home picked up on every detail.
I don't think that's a foul. I think, Stephanie White probably should have used a challenge there. Then she winds up using a challenge on a play out in transition that Sophie Cunningham probably didn't foul on either, but grabbed on her way down. So you could have seen that challenge be successful. But at the same time, it didn't allow her to challenge the fifth foul on Caitlin Clark later in the game, which was similar fashion to the other one. In this one, again, another drive right at her where she holds up pretty well defensively, I think. Gets to the spot. Offensive player falls.
Take another look at those replays and honestly ask yourself whether the officiating was truly consistent. Pay attention to the contact, or in some cases, the absence of it. Notice how quickly the whistles came out whenever Caitlin Clark was involved, and how confident the referees appeared in making those decisions. Then return to the Angel Reese elbow. Watch the official's reaction. See how he observed the play, took a moment to process it, and ultimately decided that an elbow striking Clark directly in the face right in front of him did not deserve a stoppage. That is why many people believe this goes beyond simple inconsistency. When the same referees seem eager to penalize Clark but reluctant to protect her, questions naturally begin to arise. And when concerns about direction in officiating appear, that becomes one of the most serious issues any league can face.
Caitlin Clark get grabbed and fouled all game. People don't call nothing, but they calling stuff like this, man. I'm calling for an investigation on the league, an investigation on the damn front office. Look at this. That is not a foul. That is not a foul, people. Come on. And Stephanie White, you sitting there, Brianne January, y'all trying to calm people down. Challenge the damn foul. How about y'all challenge the foul? What are y'all doing? It's ridiculous, man. They don't challenge nothing, man. That was not a foul call.
Yeah, I didn't love that call. I think with the amount of contact we've seen.
Even the announcer said I didn't love that call.
This is exactly why so many fans continue to express their frustration, and many believe they have every reason to do so. They're not making things up, and they are not overreacting. They're seeing sequences in the very same game where Caitlin Clark gets called for the slightest contact, only to have a clear elbow to the face go without a whistle. Both situations unfolded in the same arena, on the same evening, with the same group of officials overseeing the action. If the rule book is truly meant to be enforced equally for every player on the floor, then someone needs to explain, based on the actual rules, how both decisions could be justified. From the fans' perspective, they simply do not add up. As for Clark, she kept moving forward. She returned to orchestrating the offense, guiding her teammates, and continuing to do the things that have made her such a major figure in the league. She did not protest or let frustration take over. Instead, she played through the black eye and continued competing. That level of toughness is impressive, but no player should have to rely on extraordinary resilience just to make it through a professional basketball game.